Hello there, YouTubers. It's the 10th of May, year 2024, AC. So, so yeah, somehow I've kind of managed to unblock both of my years. I managed to clear some of the ear wax that that stayed inside the canals of my ears, and well, at least my right ear has been unblocked. Though I can't say the same for the for the left ear, since I well though I have no solid evidence to back up my theories or my speculations, I do kind of sense the some amount of weight, or some amount of abstraction remaining there. And yeah, before I initiated this filming session, I just finished another round of 60 push-ups consecutively in a row. Though I did have my heart rate racing and accelerating. Still, nevertheless, nowadays I can do 40 push-ups with much ease without having my heart rate racing to the roof, like I did with 60 push-ups in a row. Beg your pardon for my stuttering, but since it's been a couple of days since my previous filming session of pertaining to self-reflection and whatnot and shit, so my speech articulation might have degenerated a little bit, and I haven't spoken to anyone for a couple of days, but to myself. So yeah, though still, on the other hand, I kind of enjoyed the solitude and loneliness. Well, at least to a certain extent. I can browse whatever shite I have on my computer without having to worry about someone else's smartphones potentially spying what I do online, in secret. that kind of thing. So yeah, I do make myself highly alert and highly vigilant to such kind of threat, or cyber threat per se. So in this video, I just like to kind of self-reflect a little bit about my own shitty life, plus what I reckon about the notion of falling victim to comfort and laziness, and strong, and some other things like hard times create strong men. Strong men create easy times or cozy times, and then in turn, easy times or cozy times generate or turn strong men into weak men, and then weak men in turn bring about hard times or tough times, and then the cycle repeats and regurgitates itself over and over, that kind of thing. Yeah. So yeah, on the one hand, I do, at least, to a certain extent, agree to these sayings. Yes, I do you know, over the past several years and months, I do begin to realize that I have more or less spoiled spoiled myself quite much, since well, I I didn't do much physical exercises apart from fapping, apart from banning my sex dolls, only until rather recently. Yes, I had been, you know, probably, yeah, I have been keeping up with for forcing myself to do push-ups for for more than a month now. It does, I won't say it cures or just manage to neutralize my depression and anxiety like magic. No, it does not. But it does help me, you know, bounce back and rebound and recover from severe depression episodes somewhat faster or more quickly than I did before. In that sense, I do kind of, have come to a conclusion, probably a rather preliminary conclusion that, you know, exercising a little bit here and there does help with recovery from depression. Though, well, still, no matter the severity of your depression or anxiety, you can certainly expect to benefit from doing push-ups on a daily basis for at least 100. Maybe you can even aim for more. Say, I did more than 200 push-ups yesterday, and yes, it did not stop me from fapping. Yeah, I still fapped and then banged my sex doll last night. Until about 1 a.m., and then I played around with my iPad, by watching and scrolling, by watching some videos on YouTube and scrolling up and down to like maybe 2:30 or 3 a.m., and then I fell asleep, and then I got up at around 11 a.m., and then I did another 50 push-ups, and then took a shower, ordered my my takeaway food, some fried rice for lunch, and then did my laundry and shit. And yes, so in case you don't know, getting up super duper early, say 5 5 a.m. or 6 a.m. or 7 a.m. pretty much avails you nothing unless you have a rather clear, a rather say um, concrete um, roadmap or objective or list of a list of actions or steps of actions to take um, on your mind. And yes, in that on that day, I can pretty much prove to you that yes, getting up super duper early did pretty much nothing good to me, but more regrets and misery on that day. On which I filmed one of my most recent videos titled "An Escapism and Doom Mindset in the Morning." Well, for those who feel interested, you can go and take a look. Oops, I beg your pardon. Yeah, got some shit things in the background. Yeah, so as men, we don't really have a choice when it comes to you know when it comes to try to build a life for ourselves, or try to recover from a major setback or a series of tragedies or catastrophes. um you know so quote unquote from far from weak, you must become your own hero, or suffer a lifelong misery and stay pathetic. Well, it's not the exact quote, but you get the idea. You get the point. As men, we won't have no one. We won't have anyone to come to save our sorry asses, but ourselves. Well, yes, in case you do believe in God, you believe in Jesus. Yes. Well, what Jesus does is what he did is was merely saving us from from hellfire, but not exactly from the tribulations and trials and afflictions in we kind of have to experience in this life. I won't say 100% with certainty that we have to experience this, since you know well, had your parents decided not to have you, then you won't even you wouldn't even come to be, you wouldn't even come to this shitty planet Earth to suffer. Yeah. But since there's really no other or alternatives, well, other than committing suicide, when it comes to trying to alleviate, the pain and suffering of living. We we really have no choice but to kind of force ourselves to engage in a mode of self-improvement or personal development in order to reach the top, in order to kind of fulfill or actualize our um, our potentials. Beg your pardon. And I still, from time to time, worry about whether I could manage to survive, much less to thrive in the Western world. After so many years, so long time of pretty much losing touch with it by getting stranded, kind of, you can say both voluntarily and involuntarily stranded at my grandma's flat for this long. Nevertheless, on the other hand, I do, you know, I do, hold such sentiment that that more or less I can't wait to depart from this place. I can't wait to liberate myself from this pile of shite and mess, to another state, to another, first world or even a second world country like Turkey or Cyprus, or even Greece, even Bulgaria, Yet, unfortunately, I don't really have, a, a definitive goal, when it comes to, how I imagine I would like to build my, lifetime career or whatnot, or having myself devoted to a pilgrimage or a mission or whatnot. I really don't. But nowadays, pretty much everything I do, I can pretty much I can categorize whatever I do as solely profit driven or fear driven. I just, whatever I do, I don't really do so, for the sake of fulfilling or indulging in a hobby or whatnot. But I currently, I nowadays I have found, I pretty much, come to a conclusion that my biggest hobby is sleeping. It's it's pretty much indulging in a state of unconsciousness, well, most typically speaking, during my sleep, during my sessions of hibernation, and blah blah blah. But the good news is, most recently, I don't really suffer from suicidal thoughts and the physically violent intrusive thoughts that often. And in terms of, at least in terms of severity, it has diminished quite a bit. Well, thank God, and thanks to you guys, and well, particularly thanks to well, to whom? Yes, to a viewer, to a highly Samaritan viewer of mine who kindly donated um, a lot of useful items to me, including but are not limited to antidepressant medication from Great Britain. So I suppose more or less, I do kind of well, at least my current self kind of stands to benefit its from its effects, um, whether whether beneficial or detrimental or both. You know, overall speaking, when we look at the big picture, overall, yeah. So yeah, other than that, I don't really have much else to say. Um, yeah, you know, yeah, even in terms of learning French, I don't really learn French, because I love the French language or whatnot. Well, more or less, well, probably you can say that. Yes, I learn French, um, you know, partially due to the fact that I kind of get a bit fascinated by French arts, French culture, and its the phonology and overall etymology of the French language itself. But I don't really learn French, for the sole sake of liking or loving the language per se. I learn French to kind of show off a little bit, to kind of earn a bit of a, both internal and external validations. And on the other hand, in the long run, I do plan and hope to make good use of the French language per se, in a French-speaking first world country like Belgium or France or even Switzerland in the future. But other than that, I don't really have a non-profit driven reason or purpose of learning French. That says, it's solely non altruistic, solely profit driven, or maybe even fear driven. So yeah. Other than that, yeah, I hope I have made my main points clear so far, and thank you very much for watching and being with me to the end of this video. Yeah, so have a lovely weekend, and if God's still willing, hope to see you guys next time on YouTube, on BitChute, Rumble, MGTOW.tv, etc. So yeah, take care, stay safe, cheers.